Hello, good evening, welcome. This is Hot Edition. We're live from a news up here at Adisa Wekanda. Also live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. We're streaming all across the world on 3news.com. You can also watch a live stream of this program on Facebook and X at 3FM 927. Share your thoughts, views, comments, and opinions on the issues we're going to be talking about this evening. Coming up. Executives of Senior Staff Association of the Universities of Ghana are waiting response from government concerning an ongoing strike over unpaid Tier 2 pension arrears. We have the details for you here on Hot Edition. Also, a new Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Thomas Opong Pepra, takes office at a time of growing mistrust between the military and civilian population. This evening, we'll explore what needs to be done to mend that and also the military's preparation to assist in ensuring peaceful December polls. Also, this evening, tension in New Jobbing South municipality of the Eastern region due to a chieftaincy dispute in the area. We'll tell you the latest with regards to that here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Also, the Africa Center for Energy Policy Executive Director Ben Boachi had described as insensitive the emissions levy, which, according to the Ghana Revenue Authority notice, took effect from today. We're in the Ashanti region where students of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology have been left stranded following the TEU strike. Details of this and more here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Your thoughts, views, comments, and opinions are welcome. Let's get into the details. I am Alfred Ocansey. And there's tension at Betom. Betom is in the New Jobbing South municipality of the Eastern region following a dispute over chieftaincy and stillment. Now, the Central Municipal Police have made 2 arrests from what we're gathering right now. The police are alleged to have aided one faction to change the locks on some rooms at the chief's palace amidst the chieftaincy dispute. Earlier today, the family convener and elders of the aggrieved Japan faction are demanding the immediate release of the 2 arrested and fair grounds to resolve the current impasse surrounding the Ajapong chieftaincy issue under the New Jobbing Traditional Council. We've been speaking to a witness of this rather unfortunate situation there in the area, and this is what we do know so far as per what we've been gathering on the ground.
Is protection for our family house here because the stool is being located in this house, and some of our uncles were here this morning with a carpenter to break into our stool room with police present, armed. So we need protection from this evening up to maybe a week or later, because we don't know what is going to happen this evening, because they are bent on installing a chief this evening, and we are not going to allow it. Because it's not the queen. Once the queen mother is not involved, nobody is not going. We are not going to permit those things to happen in this house. That is why we are here. We are calling for the immediate release because one of them is a leading factor, a leading member of our group, who is going to pursue issues in court tomorrow morning 9 o'clock. So once they still keep him at the custody, it's affecting our progress.
Intinya can say opposite for no omo for peace na omo fa omo ho nyi saa agise ahensem ya abayimu eno ye sere wo ese omo pa omo nyi omo anu ye dey efrim omo ka tere say omo kotro omo statement tete afede phone na ekobo omo da fu dem omo nyi obi ahwe anopa ye na ye wo ha na omo ti wo nyi enko na omo kotro omo statement but omo ko ye say la omo ma.
Now, that's what's happening there. There's brewing tension in the New Jobbing traditional area after a group of individuals under the supervision of the New Jobbing Divisional Police Commander broke into the stool room of the Adom Royal Family in Koforidua. The action comes after the Queen Mother of the Adom Royal Family resisted the unlawful removal of the black stool, which is intended for the installment of a new chief from the family. What we understand is that the lock into this room, where we're talking about the stool room, has been changed. Now, if you go on our Facebook page right now, we're streaming live videos of the chieftaincy palace, where we understand that this locks were changed. If you go on our Facebook page at 3FM927, you'll see live videos of this palace and the locks that have been changed, and then also the videos of this rather unfortunate incident that happened earlier today. And Yvonne Nikwe has been following this quite closely. She's our Eastern Regional Correspondent joining me on the telephone. Yvonne, what's the latest to this?
Well, Alfred, what it is that there's a security crisis on our hands if things are not resolved as I speak to you so tomorrow morning. This is because a chief has to be installed this evening for the processes to continue. Meanwhile, there are disputes that have to be resolved, and it has not taken place yet. And so, yes, the police and everybody from the municipal and regional needs to resolve the issue in that particular area. Else, we might have a situation on our hands.
And so you talk about the police. What's the security situation there, especially because of the earlier reports that the police is also being accused of supporting one faction against the other?
An hour ago when I left the place, there was no police visibility. But from the conversation I had with those in that particular house, early on today morning, police numbering about 20 were at that particular family house where the black stools were kept to ensure that the locks to that particular door were changed. As to who gave them the authority, they cannot tell. But what they're demanding is that two of their own who were arrested during the exercise should be released to them for them to continue the court exercise as I speak to. Yes, this is in a situation as I visited them early on today.
But what about the regional, that's House of Chiefs, the Eastern Regional House of Chiefs? What have they been saying about this?
The Regional House of Chiefs is yet to take a bite at this issue officially. Now, per the chieftaincy processes, this issue would have to move from here, and then straight it goes to the New Jabin Traditional Council, which is the divisional head of this particular traditional area, before it moves to the regional House of Chiefs. And so we're tracking it, how the issue move around to be resolved along these lines, especially as it might also be a society issue. Municipal assembly, which is the MUSEC, would have to be at hand as well as the regional security issues, because when it goes beyond what the hands can contain, it means that it's a security issue. So we're looking at how these bodies along the processes of the resolving the value chain act in time.
Yvonne, appreciate your time on this one. Thank you so much.
Welcome, my friend. That's
Yvonne Nikwe, Eastern Regional Correspondent, keeping an eye on this and how things play out, because this is just the beginning of what is being feared to be the escalation of some tensions in the area, if not checked. Because what we're monitoring right now is that under the supervision of the New Job and Divisional Police Commander, some individuals alleged to have broken into the stool room of the Adom Royal Family in Koforidua. Now, the videos we have secured from the palace is what we are streaming right now on Facebook at 3FM927. The actions of these individuals comes after the Queen Mother of the Adom Royal Family resisted the unlawful removal of the black stool, which is intended for the installment of a new chief for the family. Now, also, we're learning that the installment is scheduled for later this evening at the Adom Royal Palace by the Paramount Chief Dasibre Kweku Boateng III. According to the Queen Mother, Nana Akosua Afrakoma, who has been in charge of the stool, that's the black stool, after she was installed 29 years ago, the claimant who is to be installed tonight is not known and has not been nominated, hence her resistance. That's what's happening right now. However, the group under the supervision of the Koforidua Divisional Commander, Chief Superintendent Emmanuel Ba, together with heavily armed men from the counter-terrorism unit, broke into the stoolroom and changed the locks of this stoolroom. And Akosua Afrakoma expressed surprise at the police's behavior, stating that she is unaware of the installation of a new chief tonight. So my colleague Yvonne Nikwe is following this quite closely, and we'll see what happens tonight. here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. And we're keeping an eye on this and how things are playing out. Stay with us here. We'll give you some more updates as we go on. But officers and men of the Ghana Armed Forces have been charged to be professional in the discharge of their duties. Major General Thomas Opompepra, effective today, Thursday, February 1, becomes the Chief of Defense Staff of the Ghana Armed Forces, taking over from the immediate past CDS Vice Admiral Seta Moma. He is faced with the arduous task of, among other things, improving the military-civilian relationship in the wake of emerging threats and hostile military-civilian relations reported recently. Now, a strong caution has been issued to the officers of the armed forces to ensure peaceful coexistence in the country as Ghana prepares to hold the 2024 elections.
Charge all commission officers to continue to show leadership in their work. Leadership in their work. There is a quotation on leadership I like so much, and that quotation is at page 10 of your program. And I quote that leadership is not about the rank you hold. Leadership is not about the rank you hold. It's about the lives you touch and the legacies you leave. In service, we find purpose, but in leadership, we inspire greatness.
As the outgoing Chief of Defense Staff, Vice Admiral Seta Moma there. Let's get on to the telephone now. Dr. Victor Doke is a security analyst and lecturer at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center. Dr. Victor Doke, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Hot Edition.
Thank you very much, my brother.
Great. Now, this is a new CDS taking his office today on the back of a number of incidents involving the military and civilians in many parts of the country, from Wa to what we've seen recently in Boko and Binduri and some other places in the western region as well over the last 4 or 5 years ago. Now, this deteriorating community or civilian-military relations, what should be the focus of this new CDS in improving on the situation?
Well, thank you very much. First of all, let me take this opportunity to congratulate the new CDS, Major Thomas Opompepra, and then also the new Chief of Army Staff, Major General Owona. Now, these are astute gentlemen who have widely gained experience internationally and nationally when it comes to their duties. Going straight to your point, what will be required of the new CDS is to uphold the image, the respect that the Ghana Army has gained over the years, nationally and internationally. And then even try to elevate, or in other sense, do more than what his predecessors have done. So with regards to security issues, most of us expect that the new CDS will be up to the task and profess even solutions that would see people believing more in the military, institutions believing more in the military, for we the civil society organizations to have the confidence and the belief that going into 2024, we have men in uniform at the hierarchy who pay their moral standards are pledged to serve the country, will uphold the moral obligation to see that everything with regards to security and peace is upheld for the citizens to go about their duties, especially in 2024 with regards to the election. So this is what we expect the new CDS with its top generals also to look at going forward.
Now, but talk about some of these troubled areas in the country where there's military deployment and what happened in Boko, for instance, recently. Now, what has to be done, or what should be the focus to address the dwindling trust between the civilians and the military?
Okay. Now, to reiterate, I think I mentioned one sometime with your sister station. We need more civil engagement. By that I mean, the military hierarchy should now look at how they can foster and strengthen relationships with civil society, research think tanks with regards to peace building, conflict, security in that area. Now, what this would give them, or the leverage it would give them, is to gain more experience, more needed capacity to know how to relate to civilians more with regards to their daily activities, be it when they are asked to go into an area to enforce the law or to keep peace or whatever be it. They need to be abreast with the dynamics, the situations on the ground. And you need a civil society engagement to do this. That partnership, that collaboration and cooperation is what is a challenge to what we have observed. So he needs to focus more on bringing on board civil society that can strengthen this partnership going forward.
Now, talk about the dialogue process, and also there have been recommendations or suggestions to have a lot more of the traditional authorities also liaise with the military or the security approach to dealing with some of these issues in these troubled regions. Should that also be a consideration?
It should. I mean, when you talk about fostering good relationships, you see, you have to look at from the bottom-up approach. Now, the bottom-up, who are the people considered at the bottom? The grassroots, the communities, okay? The elders, the chiefs, the youth groups, the women groups, field-based organizations, they form the core of these grassroots. Now, you cannot ignore them and then now look at the middle or the top level. You have to engage them. And most of the time, what happens is when we ignore these grassroots or community level people, and that's where we have the problem, because we don't consider their needs and their interests, what they perceive as important to them. And in this case, in this context, we are talking about the relationship that should be strengthened with the men in uniform. So they need to look at that level, have more civil engagement, let the people know that you are in to protect them, and then your approach to issues, right? And if they want to take up resolution matters in the conflict situation, there is an approach that needs to go in, not a brute force.
Dr. Doke, as always, appreciate your time on this one. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pablo.
Dr. Victor Doke is a lecturer at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center. Also, a security analyst joining us with his thoughts on the new Chief of Defense Staff and the job that is cut out for him going forward. Now, the issues related to labor and the increasing cases of either strikes or the notice of some of the labor unions to begin their strike is what is also impacting on the university education as we speak. Executives of the Senior Staff Association of the Universities of Ghana are currently awaiting a response from the government concerning an ongoing strike in respect of the unpaid Tier 2 pension arrears, plus a compounded penalty of 3% accrued over 8 months. The closed-door meeting called by the Ministry of Finance is expected to end with a negotiated resettlement towards the release of funds from the Ministry of Finance to the fund managers, and also which will lead to the end of the strike. Now, question is, will this make any significant difference? And we'll speak to my colleague Nancy Vukonia shortly, who's been monitoring this meeting at the Finance Ministry. Nancy, good evening. Thank you for joining us. Now, what more are you learning from this meeting at the Finance Ministry between the senior staff of the universities, public universities of Ghana, and also the officials of the Finance Ministry?
Yes, well, Alfred, the meeting was a closed-door meeting. It went on from about 10:30 a.m. till about 4 p.m. this evening, and the media was shut out. But when they came out, what we're hearing is that a couple of proposals were made to government, and the strike, as it is, continues until the start here from government sometime next week. The expectation is that government will deliberate on the proposals, which I believe include what the pensioners are also going through, the strike sectors who haven't received their lump sum from the Tier 2 pension contribution as well. So I think that is also a big issue for the strike. But if you would recall, what the strike has been asking for is arrears that have accrued over 8 months. since some time last year. And they are not just asking for their arrears to be paid, they are also asking for the penalty of 3% to be paid on each month. So what they're asking for here is a compounded interest instead of a simple interest calculated over the entire sum for the 8 years. So they're asking for these specific requests from government. Government hasn't given them much, as you see. So the strike continues. The basic schools across all the public universities are going to remain shut, and all the public services are going to remain shut on campus. While we were waiting for this meeting to finish, we took a visit to the University of Ghana campus. And Alfred, it is quite an eyesore. When TAU is on strike, that's when you know the importance of TAU. There's visibly sanitation issues, there's garbage spewing out of dustbins all over campus, and all of the public services that are offered on campus are currently shut. So the strike is not going away at any moment from now. The expectation is that within the coming weeks, government will act and try to relieve the grievances of the striking workers.
Fortunate there, but has the meeting ended as yet?
The meeting has ended, Alfred.
Nancy, appreciate your time on this. Thank you so much. Nancy Vukonia is my colleague monitoring this meeting that ended not too long ago at the Finance Ministry, where we understand that the senior staff of the universities of Ghana, that's the public universities, and the Teachers and Educational Workers Union are meeting the that's officials of the Finance Ministry to agree on a roadmap to the payment of their 3% arrears, that's the 3% penalty of accrued arrears of over 8 months, plus their Tier 2 pension arrears that we understand only 2 months have been paid out of the 8 months that they are owed. Now, still on labor, the leadership of organized labor has served notice not to attend a meeting with the Finance Ministry on Monday, February 6th, over the proposed implementation of the value-added tax on electricity. Now, President of the National Association of Graduate Teachers, Angel Kabono, tells 3FM News government appears to be dragging its feet on the issue after failing to attend an earlier meeting that they, Labour, called. Take a listen to him.
But the people of Ghana have been disrespected. We are a subset of the Ghanaian society. And looking at the economic situation that is afflicting all of us. And government itself accedes to the fact that we are in an economic quagmire. So in this situation, is this the situation where you continuously dump taxes on your people? When we are in an economic strait, we are being stifled by high prices of goods and services. We are affected by already too much existing taxes. There is the devaluation of our currency, so you can hardly buy. The difficulty of people to even import items into this country, the loss of jobs of a lot of Ghanaians, through the collapse of financial institutions and other institutions. I mean, myriad of challenges and problems. So why would you continuously be dumping taxes on your people when you know that your people have already been pushed to the wall?
Well, Angel Kabono indicated that the leadership of the unions will meet the rank and file to decide on the next action.
A subset of the Ghanaian society, and looking at the economic situation that is afflicting all of us, and what is being dumped on us is affecting us negatively. And the fact that we've announced that if that is not withdrawn, we can't help it but to advise ourselves. So let's see how the days go. The final decision is by the people who constitute organized labor. The state of the economy is amalgamation of the state of economy of the individuals.
That is correct.
So when 30 million individuals' state of individual economy is weak, it tells us the country's state of economy is weak. You cannot separate the economy of the state from the state of economy of the people.
That's Angel Kabono. There is a president of the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT, talking on this. Now, while we are at it, we're also monitoring development with regards to a strike by the Laboratory Professionals Union. They are also giving a 14-day ultimatum to the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission to to address their issues of conditions of service. So far, we have about 7 unions that have either gone on strike or have given notice for a strike action. That's what's happening on the labor front. An economist and lecturer at the University of Ghana, Dr. Adom Royal has asked government to have a look at the extractive sector for funds to finance healthcare delivery in the country. He noted that sources of funds for the healthcare financing in the country must be sustainable. He was speaking during the Sustainable Health Financing Dialogue on achieving improved maternal health outcomes organized by Media General in partnership with Star Ghana in Accra earlier today.
The source of the financing should have certain qualities, certain features. Number one, it should be sustainable. Number two, it should improve quality. Number three, it should provide equitable health care. Number four, that source of finance should be predictable. It's not like you want to go and sleep and then wake up one day and say the money is not coming. It should be predictable. We should be able to budget for it, and it must offer transparency and accountability. Health insurance is good so that we can pool resources to finance healthcare. Going forward, where can we get the money from? We have the problem, our mothers are dying, our sisters are dying. Where do we get the money to resolve this issue? God has blessed this country with a natural resource, the extractive sector, because we have examples from Botswana, Canada, Saudi Arabia, Qatar. These are resource-rich countries that are doing well to mobilize funds from their extractive sector. God, in his wisdom, has blessed this country with so many natural resources. According to experts, the value of the natural resource we have in this country is about $10 trillion. So if you are this rich and you are looking for money to finance maternal health, where else do you look for?
As Dr. Edu Owusu-Sarkodie there. Let's go back to our earlier story of the impact of the strike by the Senior Staff Association of the universities, the public universities in the country, and the Teachers and Educational Workers Union as well. And earlier we gave you updates of that meeting between the representatives of these two unions and the Finance Ministry officials. Thankfully, we have the national chairman of the Senior Staff Association of the Universities, the public universities in this country, Mr. Isaac Donko, is joining us on the telephone. Mr. Donko, good evening. Thank you for
Good evening, my brother.
Great, it's good to have you. First of all,
good to have you too.
Great. Let's establish this. Was there any conclusion on the matters with which you were called for this meeting earlier today?
Yeah, today we made some proposals to government, and they have taken it in good faith. They said they will get back to us. So we are waiting for them. That's the conclusion.
What was the proposal that you made?
The proposals were to ask government to pay everything that is owing to the association or to our fund managers. Then we call off our strike.
If you say government should pay everything, what is the details of the everything that you're asking for?
The everything is our principal, the principal that the government is owing us. They should be able to pay everything from January to December.
The principles of your tier 2 deductions?
Yes.
I see. Since you started the strike, has any payments been made?
Yeah, information reaching me indicate that at least they've made, I think, one. That one I can confirm. Today they said they've made 3 payments, but the other 2 I cannot confirm because I've not gotten any information from my fund managers yet.
No, if 1 of what and 3 of what?
You know, they are owing since March, so they've paid April.
Okay, you mean 1 month?
1 month, yeah.
Okay.
1 month has been paid.
But now you've received information that they are saying they've paid 2 additional months.
That is what transpired at the meeting, that 2 additional months has been paid.
Out of
but my checks indicate that they are yet to come.
I see. Out of the 8 months they owe you?
Yes.
Okay, but you have not received any confirmation from your fund managers that these 2 months that government is saying they are paid additional 2 months has actually been paid?
Exactly.
Beyond that, you were also demanding some 3% penalty on these arrears that you are asking for. Was that discussed at the meeting?
That one, we said we should pay the principal. After that, you come and discuss the rate, the interest or the penalty too.
So you didn't even talk about the penalty?
No.
I see. So if the arrears are clear, that's the rest of the 5 months. If indeed the 2 months has been paid already, and the government doesn't make up for the penalty 3%, you will not call off the strike.
And when it is paid, then take it from there. We are taking it step by step. So let's take our principal, then you move to the next one. We are taking it step by step. That's why I said we've made some proposals to them. If accepted the proposal, they said they will get back to us. So we are waiting for them.
I see. In accepting the proposal, did they say they're going to pay in full the arrears they owe you, or do you agreed on a payment plan?
No, they are paying everything before you call off our strike. That is our proposal.
And you said the finance ministry officials agreed?
They said they'll get back to us. So we are waiting for them.
You said they'll get back to you on that demand of paying in full.
Exactly.
The principal you are owed.
Exactly.
Who attended this meeting on the side of the finance ministry?
The deputy was there. Deputy Minister Abena was there.
And who else?
Controller was also there. GTEC was there. I think Minister of Education was also represented.
I see. And they said they're going to get back to you on this demand of the payment of your principal in full.
Exactly, my brother.
So for the parents who are listening and the students who are listening, it appears there's no end in sight for your strike. You're going to continue.
Oh, for sure. That one I can promise you that. I can promise you.
But the National Labour Commission says that they directed that you call off your strike while the negotiation for these demands goes on. So why are you still on strike?
We are on strike because we have to meet as NEC to decide the directives from the National Labour Commission. As a group, we are yet to meet. You know, when we started the strike, I think 2 days into the strike, we had the NEC meeting, and we have to meet again. It takes a lot of resources financially from the association. So if government wants us to call off the strike, then it should facilitate our NEC meeting for us to decide on whether to call off or not to call off. So in short, I'm trying to say that we are yet to meet as NEC to decide the position of National Labour Commission.
You want government to facilitate the organization of your National Executive Committee meeting?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that to have another NEC within a period of 2 weeks or less than 2 weeks,
it demands a lot of resources. That's
it.
So you want government to foot the bill?
If government thinks that our NEC is an impediment to our calling off of the strike, then they can as well come in to facilitate. Then you go to NEC and decide.
In facilitating, they should foot the bill for the organization of your NEC meeting.
If they are ready.
No, what does it entail, I beg your pardon, in organizing your NEC meeting?
Oh, we are many. We are more than 100 and something. And people are moving here. Accra, Kumasi, Cape Coast, Winneba, Somenya, to Wa. The airfare alone is not easy.
So if government wants this immediate NEC meeting for you to decide on whether to call off the strike or not, all those costs must be borne by government. Your airplane fare and your hotel bills, all the days you will be there, government has to think about paying that money.
If they are ready, we will gradually accept it and go for NEC and decide for them.
But for now, you, as in senior staff, you don't have money to organize?
We don't have money, my brother. That's the challenge. Not that you don't want to call off the strike or what, but you don't have money. And as a national chairperson or the leader of the group, I cannot sit at my corner and say that, hey, the strike is off. I don't have that mandate. I don't have it.
National Labour Commission says that they're going to take you to court if you don't heed to this directive?
We are waiting for them. If they want to take people to court, they should take government first to court and not the labor group. Where were they when government was defaulting? Where were they when government was not ready to pay? They should go and take the pensioners who cannot even pay their hospital bills to hospital, and not we. We are fighting for people who do not have voices in. Yes, are dying. They are sick. Then they should take the entire senior staff to court. They shouldn't go there. And now the government is on strike. Till strike. Court. Okay, we shall see.
Isaac Donko, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you to my brother.
Isaac Donko is the national chairman of the Senior Staff Association of the universities, that's the public universities in this country, talking about this strike, ongoing strike, together with TEWU, and we understand now the TEWUG, that's the Tertiary Education Workers Union of Ghana. They are different from the Teachers and Educational Workers Union. They are also on strike. And the strike of the Tertiary Education Workers Union is taking a bite on the universities in this country and the students as well over there. And we've been monitoring what's happening in the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, as lecture halls were locked when the students turned up for lectures because of this strike by the Tertiary Education Workers Union of Ghana. That's different from the Teachers and Educational Workers Union, who are also on strike. Now, the duty of the Tertiary Education Workers Union of Ghana is to set up the lecture halls and then also prepare these halls for lectures by the students. Now, as a result of the strike, that does not happen. They've abandoned their posts in compliance with the strike directive by the National Executive, which began today. We've seen the withdrawal of services by their members, and the action is taking a toll on the universities across the country. So this is one that we're monitoring quite closely. We'll be updating you as we go on here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. The collection of the controversial emissions levy is yet to begin, as they advertised a notice by the Ghana Revenue Authority yesterday. At least by the DVLA offices that we visited today, there's the continuous granting of roadworthy certificates to vehicle owners who have not been asked to pay these vehicle emissions as yet. The tax has become necessary, according to government, to encourage the use of more electric and environmentally friendly vehicles. Vehicles, buses and coaches with engine capacities about 3.0, along with cargo and articulated trucks, are to pay 300 cedis per year. Vehicle owners would show proof of payment before obtaining a roadworthy certificate from the Driver Vehicle License Authority, DVLA, with the payment made only via the Ghana.gov platform. My colleague Judith Brown is joining me on the telephone. We would hear from her shortly, but also some of the owners of vehicles have been talking about this vehicle emissions levy.
It doesn't make sense to me.
Why doesn't it make sense?
Because levy all around, and I don't think it can help us.
So this 15% increase in electricity is a problem, and now they are now bringing another VAT or tax on vehicle and those things. I don't think that is correct.
I believe in that the government can do more than what they want to do. I remember about 3, 4, 5 years ago, there was an implementation of cars with more than 3.5 horsepower engine, paying an extra charges in which the government sought to get to know that it wasn't working, so they have to later on take it out. So I don't know why they are bringing this, because what they supposed to have worked on was the towing issue. Most cars get spoiled on the road. If only they're going to take that money and they're going to make sure that things are being put into place, accident is going to reduce. I remember about 3, 4, 5 years ago, there was an implementation of cars with more than 3.5 horsepower engine, paying an extra charges in which the government sought to get to know that it wasn't working, so they have to later on take it out. So I don't know why they are bringing this, because what they supposed to have worked on was the towing issue. Most cars get spoiled on the road. If only they're going to take that money and they're going to make sure that things are being put into place, accidents is going to reduce. I believe that would do, because most of our street light traffic lights sometimes don't work at all.
Well, so those are some owners of vehicles sharing their thoughts on this vehicle emissions levy. Now, let's get onto the telephone now, and the emissions expert has also been looking at the situation. Dr. William Banman, thank you so much for joining us on Hot Edition.
Hi, thank you.
Great. Now, first off, I recall during the COP28 conversations last month in Dubai, the conclusion amongst world leaders is that Africa or developing countries are the least contributors to emissions globally. Now, if that's a fact, how much of it really is a worry to Ghana, so much so that we would have to levy vehicle owners to address these emissions?
Yeah, I can only talk about the principle of emission levy and carbon tax for that matter. I mean, it's a principle of certain demand from high emission services and products to low emission services and products. So that's what it is. As long as in a particular jurisdiction, it doesn't impact, in terms of economics on the average citizen, the principle is a good one.
I think beyond the principle, do you also see through the concerns about also the social impact that this would have?
In terms of
the tax, I'm talking about the social impact of the levy that has been introduced, in fact approved by Parliament now. So yes, the principle is welcome, but then again, if it is indeed the case that we are the least contributors to emissions, couldn't this have been done differently so as also to take into consideration the social costs of this levy?
Differently, I cannot immediately sort of think about that. Maybe you may want to say at another time. I don't have data, information to say that this is the right time or later. What I can say is that, looking at the fact that if you are owner of a light vehicle, you're paying about, I think, 150 cedis a year. So if you divide 150 cedis by 365, you get me about, let's say, 50 pesos a day. And if you are a vehicle owner, then you have, especially if it's a private vehicle, and you can buy a vehicle and you have to pay this for the emission, emission control, more or less. I think it is not a bad start. Okay, as the earlier speaker said, this could be used to support other environmentally friendly infrastructure that could propel consumers to move into, more environmentally friendly alternatives like electric cars, and so on and so forth. So it's a good start if, the impact is not too much on the ordinary Ghanaian.
Dr. William Banman, thank you for your thoughts on this. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
He's an emissions expert. This is Hot Edition. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. Juliana Menua-Fall is standing by with the latest in the world of business after this quick break. Stay with us.
If you dare to have your thoughts, if you're unafraid of being expressive, do you long for a space where your mind can roam free? Tune in every Thursday from 9 p.m. on 3FM 92.7, Uncensored with Stephanie Benson, where the night is as limitless as your imagination.
Good evening. It's time now for the business segment on Hot Edition. In our first story, the upstream sector of Ghana's integrated aluminium industry is expected to contribute some 5% to the country's GDP. Chief Executive Officer of Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation, Michael Ansah, has assured local content is key in all ventures the corporation undertakes.
Studies that have been independently conducted indicate that we're looking between 4 to 5% contribution to GDP when the upstream projects alone, not even the downstream projects, have been factored in and have been fully developed. So the impact on the economy is significant. You know, that is a huge impact, okay? And that is going to lead to jobs, it's going to lead to other fiscal benefits to the government. And these are what the benefits in the long term will be. Of course, there's also the local content part. A lot of what we do, the companies that we're working with, we've made sure that we've designed local content into everything that we do so that we have the right balance of Ghanaians participating in this. There's also training programs. There's also the issue of transfer of technology and all of those other benefits that will accrue to us as a state. Of course, there are the statutory ones that we have, and I've talked about the fiscal benefits, but things like royalties and all those things will accrue.
Fall away from that, retail businesses are calling on Ghana Revenue Authority to rigorously enforce the EVAT system, particularly among informal shops. This policy, implemented by the authority, aims to secure compliance with VAT deductions. Nevertheless, Ramesh, the Joint Group Managing Director of Melcom Group Limited, expresses concern that the enforcement of this policy on larger shops renders them less competitive and disrupts the equilibrium in the business landscape.
Well, the Ghana Revenue Authority has rolled out what they call the EVAT, where every till receipt, every purchase is measured and directly connected to the GRA computers. So all the tills here every morning is synchronized with them. All the transactions are uploaded to them. They reconcile every evening, they reconcile every month. So they know that everything is being done fair and square and straightforward. They need to roll this out to other retailers also. It becomes very difficult where consumers who are paying the 21.9% or whatever it may be as VAT to retailers like us and other retailers. I'm not saying we're the only one on that platform, but there are smaller ones, independents, who have not yet got to that stage. Now, how much of that is actually being tapped and captured and how much is falling through the net is where they need to focus.
That was Joint Group Managing Director of Melcom Group Limited, Ramesh Sadwani, there, bringing us to the end of the business segment here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. My name is Menu Afo. Bill is on standby with sports news. Hello, Bill.
Thank you, Menu. It's time for sports news here on the 3FM Hot Edition. My name is Bill Lishen. Let's start off from the African Games because a total of 9 teams in the men's under 20 and 8 in the women's under 20 categories were engaged in the 2023 African Games football draw earlier today in Abidjan. The Black Satellites will face Gambia, Benin, and Congo in Group A. Current champions Burkina Faso did not make it because they did not make the quarterfinals of the under 20 AFCON last year. The Black Princesses will battle Tanzania, Uganda, and Ethiopia. Also in their group, defending champions Nigeria are in Group B. The 13th edition of the African Games will take place in Ghana's capital of Accra between the 8th and the 24th of March 2024. And so for those who would want to know, this is the draw for the African Games. For the men's division, Ghana are in Group A with Gambia, Benin, and Congo. And in Group B, they have Nigeria, South Sudan, Senegal, Uganda, and Tunisia. That's the group for the men's division. And then for the women, we have Ghana facing Tanzania, Uganda, and Ethiopia. And in Group B, we have Nigeria, Senegal, Cameroon, and Morocco. So these are the groups for the football side of the African Games. To other stories, in the 2023 AFCON, there is Nigeria versus Angola, who will battle tomorrow in the first quarterfinal of the competition. The coaches of both teams decided to meet the press, and this is what they had to say before the game.
For tomorrow, in my opinion, is 50% for each team for win the match. Okay, I believe in my team. We believe in our team, but one match, one quarters, is our second final. We played the first final before. The second final, we want to play the third final and the fourth final. But for me, this match, specific match, only one match, 50% for each one.
They are really power team, but they also have some issues where we are looking for to create difficult in our oppositor. So we will see, but this is a big opportunity for us, a big opportunity of one career.
Those were the coaches of Nigeria and Angola. The first was Jose Peseiro of Nigeria, and the second was Pedro Gonçalves, who is the head coach of the Angolan national team. In Europe, later tonight, West Ham will be hosting Bournemouth, and Wolves will face Manchester United. Also, today is transfer deadline day for the winter window. As we move closer to that deadline, 3 Sports Prosper Kuzo gave updates on some of the transfers that happened earlier today. Bayern Munich have completed the signing of Brian Zaragoza on a permanent transfer from Granada. The electric winger's transfer fee summed up to €5 million and could potentially increase with add-ons included. Leicester City, on the other hand, are confident of completing the signing of Stefano Senti on a permanent transfer from Inter Milan. The Italian giants are expected to be paid €2.5 million for the 28-year-old who aims to compete in England. Aston Villa have confirmed the signing of Morgan Rogers from Middlesbrough on a permanent deal. The transfer fee is expected to be an initial €8 million fee and could also rise to 16 million if all the required add-ons are met. Former Getafe skipper Ines Unal is on his way to Bournemouth after an agreement between the two clubs. Getafe will receive a €16.5 million package at the end of the season. The two teams agreed on a loan deal with an obligation to buy. Finally, Serge Aurier will join Galatasaray on a permanent transfer from Nottingham Forest after the ongoing Africa Cup of Nations. The Ivorian is on international duty and aims to win the trophy with the Elephants. That brings an end to the sports segment here on the 3FM Hot Edition. My name is Billy Shen, and up next is entertainment, and Akofa is standing by.
Hello and thank you for keeping your dial on 3FM 92.7. It's now time for the entertainment news segment powered by 3 Entertainment. My name is Akofa and now the stories. Music record label Universal Music Group UMG has ended its agreement with social media app TikTok. 3 Entertainment has been finding out more about this development. We caught up with some industry folks, Baba Sadiq and Kobiche, and this is what they had to say regarding UMG's stance.
I think that's important that they're able to have a sit down on this and fashion out the best way possible for creators of content to benefit. Today, if you watch the news, there's a lot of news stories regarding Congress in the US taking on or grilling tech CEOs, and all of these engagements are to a large extent better for industry. So as much as a lot of us are concerned, whether Hits or Stonebwoy and a lot of the talent that are signed to Universal, African talent signed to Universal, may not have the platform to enable them, or the extra platform to enable them market. I think there are a lot of avenues where they can help to market their music, but most importantly, what they get, how they get them, and ensuring that we have a better compensatory system for them, particularly because music distribution and consumption now have become more digital. So it's important that we begin to look forward and have that foresight to think about them and what they can make, because when they make more money, we know what happens. They expand, they invest back, they shoot more videos, they try to expand on their team, and a lot more things that's still beneficial for industry. So I think that's a good one. It's a good call. Let's see how this pans out. I'm sure it will be a major lesson for industry as well.
However, to blogger Kobiche, who makes good use of this TikTok platform as a blogger, he believes this issue has its pros and cons on the artist and also the record label, but also called on music rights organizations in Ghana to rise up and make sure that the system works so that it does not affect the artists like we are seeing.
In Ghana, our stakeholders, copyright institutions, GAMRO, and all these institutions should sit down carefully to know that your own Ghanaian brother has composed the music, and now a foreigner is trying to strike him or give him the dough that, hey, don't allow your people to use the music because TikTok is saying that you're going to ban it. What are we doing as Ghanaians? What system are we creating to be part of that technology conversation so that our people here will not go and sign to Universal Music? You get me? Because the people are running away. They don't trust the system here. But if we have a body or institution that really trusts our system here, we can make sure to create a technology or music streaming that will benefit our ecosystem.
Let's do some other stories now. Weeks after eagerly awaiting the outcome of her Guinness World Record attempt, Ifua Usua Asantua Adionim has disclosed that her team have expedited the approval process. She revealed that they paid $750 to the Guinness World Record for a priority review. While the standard waiting period for results is approximately 12 weeks, Ifua Asantua revealed that opting for a priority review would yield results in just 5 business days. Asantua endured a 5-day singing marathon which began at midnight on Sunday, December 24, 2023 and ended at 7 a.m. on December 29, 2023. At the time she ended her record attempt, she had sang for 5 days, 6 hours and 55 minutes. Now finally, before I go, 3FM, your urban lifestyle radio, is premiering tomorrow a new show, the WMT Show. Join comedians Obi Amponsa and Lexi the Comic at 7:05 tomorrow, Friday, right here on 3FM 92.7. The host will treat serious issues that pop up within the week their own way, with great characterization, with style, with wit, and so much fun. It will be an interactive show, and so listeners aren't left out. They will also be part of the conversation via phone in as well. So don't forget to tune in tomorrow at 7:05 so you can be part of the show. That will be all the entertainment news here on Hot Edition, powered by 3 Entertainment. I am Akofa. Thanks for your time. The 3FM Drive continues.